tugad a chean cóla a sucht an ceis seo a fiúcha tá sé Harbh tábhachtach do galia agus don córas áitiúil fudna tíre tá an scéim seo scéime tá an chun cosint a chóirt do thionóntaí atá I dtithe agus an tír na talún insin ag an tír na talún an teach a dhéal. So I gásanna mar sin is féidir leis an tír na talún dul hiig an rialtas, dul hiig an córas áitiúil agus an céad ráha a chóirt den córas áitiúil an teach a ceannach. Má léon géir agus faríor géir raibh an nullag de réir ma hiiscena cuireadh an scéim seo fionraí dar leis an údarás in Galia bhí dearra leis an scéim agus tá sagam go dtigann tú go crochí sé seo deacrachtaí olmhóra don cóirla cartach agus na heficí a bhí I mun cónra tithe a chríicnú. So I wish you the best, Minister, in your new career, and thank you, Ceann Comhairle, for picking this. It's extremely important. I have tried to get clarity on this issue every way I can. I've tabled written questions. I've raised it under promised legislation. So what am I on about? I'm on about the tenant-in-situ scheme that was brought in on the 1st of April. Perhaps that might give us some idea. The 1st of April 2023. As one of the many schemes brought in by the government to help with the housing crisis, but particularly to protect tenants who are in receipt of HAP or RAS or other payments. And if the landlord was selling the house, that he would sell it, give the first choice to the council to protect the tenants. Now, unfortunately, just before Christmas, around the 13th or 14th, the council was in contact with me, telling me that they had been informed verbally by the department that the scheme had been suspended. Now, that's what we were informed. Look, then the press release from the department said the scheme hadn't been. That was a communication with the Radio na Gaeltachta, that it hadn't been. Following after the Christmas, the contact with the council was resumed, and again they confirmed that they could not proceed with the purchase of a number of schemes, 15 units in total, Minister, 15 units in danger, that they couldn't bring closure to those because they'd been informed by the department that the tenant-in-situ scheme had been suspended, and not just in Galway City, but in other local authorities as well. So 15 units ready to close and in danger of not being completed due to lack of clarity about the scheme. 12 units in one particular place, 1 unit in another, 1 unit in another, 15 in total, and most significantly, 11 units had tenants in situ. And if those contracts are not completed, they're going to be homeless. Now, I can tell you without exaggeration that the crisis in Galway, the housing crisis, is worse than Dublin. And we are dealing with people who are between 15 and 20 years on a housing waiting list with little hope. And then on top of that, the homeless services, we're repeatedly been told that there's no place. So my question is, what decision has been made? Has a decision been made to suspend the tenant-in-situ? If not, can you clarify tonight that it hasn't? If it has been suspended, when is it going to be reinstated and what targets will be set? We just want clarity urgently to it, and particularly in relation to the 15 units I have just cited. Very much.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Connolly, and can I just say it was lovely to hear you use our native tongue with your question. Unfortunately, I'm not as fluent or leafur as yourself to be able to respond.
Fós. By two.
To respond to you. However, your question is a very serious one, and it is the issue that this government will certainly be judged on. I have obviously got some stats here from the department, but on your specific question, I am not aware of the tenant-in-situ scheme being suspended. I will give you the information and share with you what I have here. And if it doesn't get into the specifics of your specific question, I will bring it to the department and try and get you clarity on that. So thank you, as I said, for raising the matter. Under Housing for All, the government will deliver 47,600 new built social homes and 3,500 social homes through long-term leases in the period of 2022 to 2026. It is our clear focus to increase the stock of social housing through new builds projects delivered by our local authorities and our AHBs. Under Housing for All, there is a provision for 200 social housing acquisitions each year. However, in 2023, following the lifting of temporary eviction bans and reported uplift in sales by landlords of homes in the HAP and RAS schemes, Government introduced a temporary measure, the Tenant-in-situ acquisition scheme, in order to mitigate the risks of homelessness arising from tenants being supported in the HAP or RAS schemes. A key objective of the programme is to prevent potential homelessness where other solutions cannot be found for the affected tenants. It is a matter for the local authorities to assess the circumstances of each case and decide upon the appropriate action. All available options should be considered in order to prevent homelessness and up until and including acquisition. Now, I know your specific question is around Galway local authority, and I know you've said here tonight that they have verbally confirmed to you that this scheme has been suspended. I think you said since 2023, is that correct? Okay, I beg your pardon. I'll take a note of that. These options include securing the continuation of the tenancy with the landlord, securing alternative accommodation through the HAP, place finder, allocating another rental accommodation scheme property, or allocating a social housing tenancy, including voids, untenanted properties and properties available with an approved housing body. 1,500 acquisitions were approved in 2023, and the programme was extended by the Government in 2024 with a further 1,500 acquisitions, and 1,300 of which would be tenant in situ. Local authorities have delegated sanctions to deliver on 1,500 acquisitions, subject to those acquisitions being within the acquisition cost guidelines issued by the Department. Over 1,800 homes were acquired by local authorities and approved housing bodies in 2023, and whilst final figures for 2024 have not yet been collated, it is expected that 1,500 acquisitions have been completed. The programme for Government 2025 commits to continuing the tenant-in-situ programme, so therefore we have to assume that it isn't suspended, with annual targets and budgets assigned for each local authority. Pending a Government decision on the 2025 programme, local authorities are asked to continue to take appropriate steps and ensure their first response is through local tenancy sustainment structures in order to support households and prevent homelessness in cases where tenants have been served with a notice of termination by their landlord. And I note also that you said that there was 15 homes in Galway County Council at risk of not being completed and in danger of not, I suppose, being open to tenancy because of that suspension. So I would do commit to you tonight. I've taken note of what you've said there in your opening remarks, Minister, and I will get your response.
Deputy Connolly.
Thank you, Minister. And I've given the details on the floor of the Dáil. I've given them to the Taoiseach when he took the question. 15 units with 11 sitting tenants. And I wish you the best. But when we get an answer like this with a lot of padding, it really is unhelpful. And I think if you were standing here, you'd be saying the same thing to me. So let's look at my very specific question. Has the tenant-in-situ scheme been suspended, pending a decision to be made very soon? That's what we're being told. In 2025 is expected a decision will be made shortly. Now, do I take it from that the existing scheme has been suspended pending the decision that's going to be made shortly? Do I believe what the City Council have told me in writing and over a phone call, that they have been informed that the tenant-in-situ scheme was suspended? Now, I'd be delighted if you confirm to me that it wasn't suspended and they can go ahead and complete these contracts for the 15 units, accommodation units with 11 sitting tenants. And so I get a little bit confused, not with you, Minister, but with the reply. And so the programme for government commits to continue the tenant-in-situ programme, commits with annual targets. And then down the bottom of the page, a decision on a tenant-in-situ programme for this year is expected to be made by government shortly. Now, nowhere in that two detailed pages have I been told whether the existing scheme, not just for the City Council, but your local authority and other local authorities, has it been suspended pending the new scheme, or has it not? It really is a very simple question requiring a simple reply. If you can't give it to me tonight, I would appreciate if I could get it tomorrow, and so we know where this local authority stands and other local authorities.
Minister.
appreciate you raising it, and I know you've been specific to Galway County Council, and I certainly commit to you that I will be on to the Minister and the Department of Housing tomorrow to get you a clear answer on whether it's suspended or not.